South Carolina versus Grooms. So, Mr. Grooms, would you like to go forward, or would you like to waive your rights to the preliminary hearing?
We're going to go forward, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Can the arresting officer please come forward to read the official report? Officer Grooms.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like
Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, let me see. Take my job very seriously.
November 6, 2013, at 5:45, we got a report from a law enforcement saying that Mr. Alan Grooms had scared another patron and then assaulted and pointed a handgun at him. I broadcast a description of the suspect. He was a white male, age approximately 5'11", wearing a dark coat. It was raining at the time I arrived, and the street lights of the parking lot were lit. Another officer detained a suspect a short distance away, and we elected to complete a drive-by with Mr. Dodson. Mr. Dodson confirmed that Alan Grooms, the defendant, was the individual who assaulted him. And Mr. Grooms was arrested and transported to the Summerlee Regional Detention Center. There was a visible mark on Mr. Dodson's hand from where the rifle had been, where the suspect, defendant Alan Grooms, had fired the handgun, and it had caught on his hand. There is a picture of that photograph in the evidence.
Does that conclude your report? All right. Did the defense have any questions for Officer Grooms?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. Officer Grooms, you stated that it was raining when you arrived
Yes, sir.
and the street lights were on
Yes, sir.
and it was wet. Was the window rolled up or down when you did the drive-by?
It was rolled up.
It was rolled up. So what happens when you put rain on top of glass and lights? And it's dark outside. What happens when you get that combination?
It does impair visibility.
It impairs your visibility. It gives a glare off of the glass. So is there any way that you could have got a 100% positive identification on the defendant with those impairments?
Unfortunately, yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right. Did the state have any questions for Officer Grooms?
You said that you found the defendant during the time of his escape. Where exactly did you stop?
Where did I stop him at?
Yeah, where was exactly? How far was he from the time of the where the stuff happened?
Approximately a mile away, about 15 minutes after the time was off.
So you would say that he could have gotten that far from foot, or
Yes, that's it.
so how? From what time to what time would you sure that he could have gotten from the first basis to the next?
If he was running, it could have been done in this little, well, at his age, approximately maybe 8 or 9 minutes. Walking, part of it could have easily pushed that 15 minutes.
I'm sorry? Sure, if you have questions.
Officer Grooms, what time did you say you picked the defendant up?
Around 5:45.
Around 5:45?
5:50.
Okay, and what direction was he coming from?
He was coming,
Was he walking towards the Columbia side of 378, the Walmart side, or the Sumter side of 378? Which direction was he going? Okay, let's move on. I'll let you think about that. Was he out of breath when you stopped him?
I was not the one to stop him, so I
Okay, was that in any kind of officer's report? The position or the demeanor, the physical shape that the defendant was in at the time of arrest?
Yes, sir.
No, it's not. Okay. The report said that he was arrested about a mile from Walmart. Do you know where the defendant works at, Officer Grooms?
Simpsons Harbor.
Simpsons. And he's walked that route every day for 15 years, come rain or shine. So, would you say that he had to walk by Walmart to go to work or to go home from work? Do you know where Simpsons is?
Yeah, I know where Simpsons is.
Okay.
Out of character, I don't know where he's.
He's supposed to live a mile on the Columbia side, correct? Columbia side of.
That's your case.
Because I don't, the address that was given, I'm not familiar with that place.
It's not that way.
But it's down the Columbia side.
It's my understanding that the defense has a eyewitness testimony. Is that correct?
It's news to me. Miss Officer Grooms, were there any injuries or markings relating to giving a sign of a struggle on the defendant when he was arrested?
Not that were undocumented.
Say again?
Not that were documented.
Not that were documented.
I don't.
What-
That's my
what-
knowledge.
Okay, not too much. Good. All right, so let's just recount it. You picked him up around 5:45. It was dark. It was raining. You admitted that there's not a possible way that there could have been 100% identification on the defendant. He was walking on his way to work at the time of arrest. There was no weapon found, correct? Okay. What kind of weapon was it?
By reports, it was a handgun. We are not sure.
It was a handgun. My report says it was a revolver. So my client doesn't even own a revolver. No, nothing registered to him. How long have you been in law enforcement? Just a minute.
12 years.
12 years. So in 12 years, have you seen a man this size struggle away from a man the size of Mr. Dobson? Do you think that's possible?
With adrenaline is,
I judge me on it.
On what grounds?
When the time of the scene, the investigation, the gun was not found. So therefore, that,
It wasn't found after that.
so that means the gun shouldn't even be part of this.
Well, if the gun shouldn't be part of this, then why did you bring them up on Your Honor? If the gun is not a fluid or matter, then why is the prosecution charging him with 2 gun counts?
That's because it didn't the gun.
It wasn't found
Going
during the search.
anywhere
Your Honor, what
Your
found during the
defendant
search?
is walking.
Your Honor,
we
the
cannot
prosecution
in
just
any way
admitted,
within this time
the
period, Your Honor,
prosecution,
the defendant could have thrown the gun in.
Oh, okay, order in the court. Okay, I do agree with the defense. If the gun charges will be brought to trial, then you need to have evidence of the gun. Do you have any further questions, prosecutor?
But we have evidence of the mark
Okay.
of the gun with the struggle and a witness that can
Who is the
testify
officer
during
that's
the time.
bringing the evidence?
That is why I
Don't worry about it.
Okay, can I see that? And this is
The witness hand during the time of the struggle.
Your- Your Honor, the picture that was just handed you, we have a copy of it too. That mark could be from anything, not necessarily a handgun. I would like to hold this off until I can get it examined, to see what kind of actual weapon.
Your Honor, the testimony of the witness is that they were struggling with the gun and that the gun, the handle was attached to his hand.
Your Honor, I'd like to question this witness.
okay, well, this is what I recommend. If you guys are gonna bring the evidence to trial, you need to make sure you have all the full evidence. You can get the photo exam if you'd like. Just, you know, if you guys don't have any further questions,
Well, Your Honor, I do actually. If they don't have evidence to bring weapons charges to trial, then I'd like to have those charges dismissed at this time.
well, at this time, I'm not gonna dismiss the charges. I am going to bring them to trial. However, if the prosecutors cannot bring evidence to trial, then the charges will then be thrown out. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, do you guys have any further questions?
No, Your Honor, I think we'll be fine.
All right, well, I do find probable cause in the testimony given to support the charges of pointing and presenting a firearm, assault and battery in the first degree, and unlawful carrying of a handgun. And if there are no further questions, I now call this court to adjourn.
All rise. You can be seated.